Yeah, this is Manhattan Knight for SNGmentors.com. This is a hand history that I just did, a group of hand histories actually on this one player. So I think that this is pretty indicative of the type of hand histories that, or the type of spots we see that players don't necessarily see. So this player min raises under the gun on the button, and I immediately think if he's min raising on the button that I should be shoving. So I put it into Wiz and I look at Wiz. I didn't at the time. Actually, I'm doing it now. I think, wow, should I shove this hand? Obviously, we have 6-3, not a great hand, but how wide should we be shoving here? So we figure he's opening a decent range. We don't really know him yet, so let's just say he's opening 27%, right? And, well, what's he calling with if we shove? He's not calling with 27%. He's probably calling with something like, you know, maybe down to there. Ace 9, 4-4. So how wide should we be shoving? Well, that's how wide we should be shoving. We can actually narrow his range down here because he's not going to overcall that wide. So we'll narrow his range a little bit. So we should be shoving something like that, 42%, which is pretty wide. Look how close 6-3 is to 6-4 suited. So we don't shove this hand. Let's see how it plays out though. Not this hand. This hand is irrelevant. This guy just flats and he wins the pot. So we have no idea what he had, just that he's playing his button. So let's skip ahead here to the next time. We're here. He doesn't do anything. He calls. Not a big deal. But here he shoves. So we figure he has a weaker hand. He just lost that hand before, by the way. So we figure he has actually sort of a middling range. But we're not going to call. We're just noting that he plays his button strong. So then we come to a few rounds later. And what does he do here? He raises it to 1,000. To me, this is an absolutely auto shove. So let's look at this one and see. It's here. So what was that hand? 68. So let's go to 68 here and look at it here. Obviously, this is going to be a check mark, or it's not even noted. It's a fold. But again, let's give him realistic ranges because now we know that not only was he wide, he's even wider. So let's give him any Broadway card that he's opening. Now, I personally think he's opening far wider than that, but just for the sake of argument, let's give him any Broadway card. And let's make his calling range something more realistic, like, again, is he really going to, whoops, is he really going to call with the 4-4 or the 3-3? I don't think so. So let's give him that, a little bit wider of a calling range, but, you know, calling range nonetheless. And we can see we should be pushing 100% of our hands. Let's even give him, let's even widening it out. Let's see. Let's see what should we be shoving here. Okay, so we should be shoving 72% of our hands if he's calling with 19%. Let's give him any ace. Okay, let's see how wide should we be pushing. So if he's on any ace, but he's opening 36%, this is a pretty easy push, right? We should be pushing this range, Queen Jack, which is any Broadway card essentially. Queen Jack is right there. So pretty easy shove. And I thought our player missed this. Now we get to hand 87. I should have written down these hand numbers and had them on the side to begin with. And that's 87. And finally, our player has an ace. The player raises it again, and we shove, and he snap folds. Well, we don't know if he snap folds, but just in the video. So, you know, this is a series of hands that I think our player missed and could have picked up on these spots. And the aggression factor of this player, particularly, much earlier than he did. So, you know, just a situation that you should be watching, playing pretty much any type of tournament. It doesn't really matter, even any type of poker for that matter. You know, whether this is a cash game or a tournament or pot limit Omaha or limit Omaha or, you know, whatever it is, when a player is that aggressive in the blind, you need to outplay him. And you can't just let him beat you up all the time. So we got his chip. We got some chips from him. I think we should have made this play a lot sooner. It would have kept him also off our blinds a lot sooner. And this is something that we failed to do here. So I thought this was an interesting spot for that we could have been restealing on him much earlier, even as far back as a 6-3 suited hand. Certainly the Queen Jack hand and the ace is, like, anyone can shove an ace when someone raises blind versus blind on you. That's not what we're trying to teach our players to do. We're trying to teach them to shove the Queen Jack Or even think about shoving the 6-3. If not the 6-3, something like you saw, 6-4 would have been in the range. So anyway, Manhattanite for SingleMentors.com. Hope you've learned something from this video and pick up this sort of play much earlier than you are.